Well, speaking of going fast, last team we're going to touch on here, the Tennessee Vols. Let's kick it on down to Rocky Top, where Hendon Hooker for the first time met with the media for the first time this spring, and what a difference a year can make. And that's no exception for Hendon Hooker, who, from what I'm told, he basically won the job in the spring. And how did Josh Heupel reward him? Went out and got Joe Milton. And, of course, Joe Milton was named the starting quarterback leading up to the season opener against Bowling Green. Now, Hendon Hooker is the man on Rocky Top. Could have made that jump to the NFL, came back to improve his game, to improve his stock in the NFL eyes, and, to accomplish a lot more in this Josh Heupel offense. And based on his comments on Thursday, Hendon Hooker is doing everything in his power to make the most of his opportunity when it comes to spending time in the facility, putting in the work behind the scenes. And, one underrated aspect, just having a better understanding of when to get down, when to throw the ball away, when to slide. And, yeah, again, that's kind of coach speak-esque type stuff. But just look at Ole Miss. And last season, we were talking about Matt Corral. He was such a good quarterback, he was able to lead Ole Miss to a 10-win season. But because he failed to slide, because he was taking so many hits, in particular this Tennessee game, I mean, he ran the ball, I think, 25 times, something like that. That's going to take its toll on you, particularly when you're running so many snaps that Ole Miss and Tennessee do. Hendon Hooker has got to save himself, because you cannot sacrifice yourself if you're going to have a complete season here for the Tennessee Vols. This is a very important lesson. And if I'm Josh Heupel, I'm telling Hendon Hooker to study Matt Corral and how last season, at the tail end of it, he just wasn't his full 100% towards the tail end of the season, and it was evident by the drop-off in Ole Miss offense. So let's kick it over to Hendon Hooker on what he's working on this spring to be a better overall player.
Can you kind of talk about what you've been going through to, limit the wear and tear on your body, I guess?
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of, you need to slide, you need to throw it away. But I really just have a passion for the game to just give my all in every play, and that's really the only reason why I don't slide. But I'm definitely going to get some sliding in there for sure. Just taking hits off my body is good, not only for myself but the team. They know that I can rock and roll every day, bring that same energy and juice. So I'm just trying to stay healthy is the main goal there.
Some have you as a dark horse Heisman candidate going into this season. What do you feel like it would take for you to reach that potential?
Honestly, right now, my thoughts are on finishing spring ball and winning ball games, honestly. I feel like the accolades will come later.
And when we talked to Coach Hosley last week, he basically made it sound like you're living in the complex. How much time do you spend a day? What's a typical day like for you during the spring when practices?
Probably about 8 hours. Definitely in here about 8 hours a day minimum. Whether it's me doing recovery work in the training room in the cold tub, or me on the field throwing with guys, or working through footwork, or just simply getting signals just so I can be efficient. And also bringing guys along, just trying to get as many guys as I can in here with me and try to connect with them, not only as a teammate and a brother, but also translating that to on the field things and getting in the film room, watching film with them, seeing what they think and how they visualize different concepts, just talking to the receivers, and also getting in with the O-line, watching film with them, trying to gain their trust and see what they're seeing so I can make calls as they make calls as well.
And then we've previously featured some Josh Heupel comments on Jalen Hyatt and why we continue to harp on him, former touted prospect, probably the fastest player on Tennessee's team, but he's just failed to put it all together. And Josh Heupel seeing it from him. Now Hendon Hooker seeing it from him. Hendon Hooker, his best friend this next season, very well could be Jalen Hyatt. I know he's got Cedric Tillman there, and it may soon have Brew McCoy. But for this offense to go to that next level, they need Jalen Hyatt to take that next step. And it sounds like he is, based on Hendon Hooker.
What have you seen from Jalen Hyatt so far this spring? Just him trying to increase his level of physicality.
Yeah. It's almost like night and day. Hyatt is a speed guy, and loves to make moves up and field. So just getting him the ball and keeping his confidence high has been something that I've been trying to do, and something that I'll continue to do, because his confidence level is is going through the roof, and his game is elevated to a whole nother level. So I'm proud of the work that he has put in and the work that he's going to put in to improve his game.
But it wasn't just Hendon Hooker. I mean, Jalen Hyatt also met with the media here on Thursday, and interestingly enough, love anytime we get these transparent comments from these players. He maybe wasn't all he fully bought in. He talked about not being at the right weight, not being ready for the rigors of the SEC, particularly in this offense. So Jalen Hyatt on basically admitting his focus wasn't where it needed to be and studying Velus Jones Jr., who basically was a non-factor. Now, very well could play himself into a second or third round receiver in the upcoming NFL draft in just one season under Josh Heupel. Make no mistake, this is a money year for Jalen Hyatt, and if he cannot put all the pieces together now, he never will. And it certainly seems like the light has turned on for Jalen Hyatt.
Jalen, Hendon talked about just the fact that you've been in the facility so much, and Coach Pope talked about that as well. Just talk about how you've adjusted your schedule and just trying to stay here more and to be more involved overall.
Yeah, I had to look back last season on what I did wrong. That was like the biggest thing I had to do. I had to meet with Coach Pope and Coach Burns when he was here, and just try to change everything that I did last season, because obviously it didn't work. So we got back to the planning board. I try to stay consistent and coming in here 24/7. Getting on judge, film, just things like that, just to better myself and better this team.
You referenced kind of having conversations about what went wrong last season. Is that hard as a player to sit back and kind of accept that there were things that went wrong or were done wrong?
Yeah, it's for an athlete and just a competitor, when you're not out there with your guys every snap or just things like that, it gets to you. And my confidence wasn't where it was at last year. And Velus, he helped me along. When he took the slot position, he brought me with him, and I was just learning from what he did in this offense, and I was struggling with it last year, and he wasn't. So I had to take a step back, just look at how Velus run his routes, just a lot of things that he's done here at Tennessee, and that's what I've been trying to do. So I text Velus every time, show him film, and he's been helping me through this process.
And last little bit here from Hyatt, a little bit of a mutual love affair here. He seems just amazed at the work and the effort that Hendon Hooker is putting in behind the scenes to be the leader of this Tennessee football team.
How much more confidence have you seen in Hendon Hooker this spring, and also the connection that you two are able to work with now as well?
Yeah, that was one thing. Right after the Purdue game, I think we were up here, I want to say a week later, and just me and him just running routes one-on-one, just route, ball on air, just trying to get the connection between us. And I'm very happy of what Hook has been doing. He's in here 24/7. Every time I come in here, he's already in here. The process that he's taken from year one to year two in his offense is just it surprised me, because he just he wants it very badly. He's aggressive, and that's what I like about him.
All right, so hey, that's going to do it for this episode of the show. Wanted to finish the week strong, get you guys one more podcast before the weekend hits. Be on the lookout, possibly this weekend. May put out an episode on Sunday recapping the Kentucky, Auburn, and Texas A&M spring game. Haven't figured out how I'm going to do that just yet, because Shane and I, again, we're anticipating the SEC East over-under win totals to come out Friday, so that's probably going to be the show topic on Monday. So we're going to try to figure this out, but we're certainly going to be covering those spring games in some form or fashion. But enjoy the SEC football, soak it in, because once we get this action, we're not getting Kentucky, Texas A&M, or Auburn for months. So soak it up, soak it in, enjoy some SEC football, and we'll catch you on the next one.